We're going to take a quick look at the CL700 lock manufactured by DORMA Architectural Hardware. This is a heavy-duty grade 2 cylindrical lock set. I wanted to start by showing you this catalog section. The main reason is because there are so many different ways that you could purchase this product that it's easier for me to show you in the catalog before we actually take a look at some of the details. The page that I just turned to is a page that's called Configuration, and it gives us some of the options. This column right here represents the different functions of the lock. We have 9 functions currently. We have different cylinder options. We have different lever options. We have different finishes. We have different strikes. So what I'm going to do now that I've shown you this configuration page is we're going to actually take a look at some of these different options. So let's get started, and we'll talk a little bit about functions. Now we'll start by taking a look at one of our most common locking functions. This would be referred to as the CL753 or entrance lock. An entrance lock on the outside would have a lock cylinder. Now this could either be a conventional cylinder or an interchangeable core cylinder. If I look at the inside of the entrance function, you're going to see a push button, but this particular one has a pinched cap because not only can we push in to lock the door, which would unlock each time we exit, or we could push in and twist, which is going to keep the door locked, and that we're going to have to use the key every time. If we turn it back upright and turn, it'll go to the unlocked mode. This is one of our most common locking functions, but there are other locking functions that are more specific to special applications. So this would commonly be used on an entry door, on an office door. In many locking applications you could use this function, but please understand that we also have other functions. Now we'll take a look at some of those. This function...
Okay, hold on, and go ahead.
Now this happens to be a satin brass finish, but this one is actually what's referred to as a patio lock. This would be one where we can push the button locking the outside lever, but every time we actually close the door is going to come unlocked. So this would be for securing a patio. And if you'll notice, there's no cylinder in the outside. So you always have to make sure that it's not installed in an application where somebody could lock themselves or get locked outside. But every time you close the door on this function, it is going to restore to the unlocked mode, preventing lockouts. So that would be called the CL730. The next function we'll look at is similar to our entrance function, but this one, instead of having a push and twist button, just has a push button. Every time we exit, the door is going to come unlocked. So if we want to lock this door before we leave, we have to actually push the button and then pull the door shut from the outside. But every time we go to exit, the door will actually come unlocked. This would be called the CL750. It's a very popular lock as well, especially when people are concerned about locking themselves out. This is less prone to having lockouts. Now, when we move on, it's important to know that some of these locks have very specific uses. This one here is our CL725, and if you notice, there's nothing on the outside here to open this door. This would be referred to most commonly as an exit lock. So if you're worried that a passing cart in a hallway might cleave off a lever, or you're worried about people attacking and vandalizing the lock, this would be used on an exit door where we didn't want exposed outside trim. So this would be another useful application as well. As we continue to look at their locks, the next one we're going to look at here is referred to as the CL780. This is a storeroom lock. A storeroom lock, you know, when you're protecting valuables in a storeroom, you don't want to accidentally be able to leave that door unlocked. So the outside lever on this one is always locked. The inside lever allows us to exit freely. So at any time we can exit the storeroom, but the outside door will always be locked. The only way we can get in is with a key. So when you're worried about somebody accidentally leaving a door unlocked, a storeroom lock can be a very effective solution. So this is another very popular function, especially when we're securing valuables. This next one that we're going to look at here is similar to the storeroom. It's called the CL700. It's actually a classroom lock. On a classroom lock, we always want to make sure that anybody can exit the classroom at any time just by pushing down the lever. But on the outside, we can set it so that it can be locked. If we turn the key all the way around, it turns into like a passage lock. And we can always go in and out of the classroom all day long, but then when we want to secure the door at the end of the day, we turn the key around, locking the outside lever. Now this is very important, and it is got a lot of applications besides a classroom. It's always important to know that the name given to a function is a typical application, but it isn't the only way that that lock could be used. But this storeroom lock can be, this classroom lock can be a very useful application for a lot of different kinds of spaces. It's also nice to know that when it is in the unlocked mode, let me turn her back to the unlocked mode here, we can't have somebody come into the room and lock the door behind them. There are times in many institutional applications where we don't want to allow somebody, like in a hospital situation where we might have a sick patient who might go into a space and try to lock a door behind them. We can't actually lock this door unless we have the keys for the door. So this can be a very useful application for many different problems, solve a lot of problems. So these are only an example. And it's important to know that a lot of what we've looked at here would be locking type functions, but we also have passage functions and privacy functions. So when you need help regarding which of these functions to apply, you can either look into the catalog or you can call our technical services department, and they can help to coach you as to what would be the most appropriate function for an application.